In the early months of 1995, a hiker vanished without a trace in the remote mountains of Central Oregon. Local whispers soon turned into fearful speculation. Had he fallen victim to some animal-borne virus, transforming into a monstrous, wolf-faced creature of unnatural power? Our story centers on Grady, a man hardened by discipline and quick to anger. One fateful day, he takes his son, Blake, on Blake's first hunting trip into those very mountains. For young Blake, the wilderness is a realm of wonder, each sight and sound a new discovery. So captivated is he that his father's stern warnings barely register, earning him a sharp rebuke. As Grady takes aim at a deer, the animal bolts, escaping his sights. Blake, eager to prove himself, impulsively gives chase, leaving his father behind. Lost in the thrill of the hunt, Blake peers through his rifle scope when he stumbles upon a sight that chills him to the bone. Something neither beast nor man. Terror seizes him, and as he grapples with the impossible,
"You know you need to stay near me. Right fucking next to me, boy. Huh? Do you want to get hurt?"
his father appears. Together, they scramble for the safety of a nearby hunting blind. Grady, ever the pragmatist, raises his rifle, prepared to defend them if the creature dares to approach. But the creature, driven by primal hunger, ignores their hiding place. It savages the deer it had been stalking, devouring its prey before vanishing into the dense forest. Only when the silence stretches long and heavy do Grady and Blake emerge, shaken but unharmed, and make their way back home. 30 years pass. Blake, now a husband and father himself, has long left his childhood home. He lives with his wife, Charlotte, and their daughter, Ginger, in the bustling city of San Francisco. But the past refuses to stay buried.
"I told you to get down. Why didn't you listen to me, damn it?"
Blake, it seems, has inherited his father's rigid discipline and simmering temper. Then, a grim package arrives. His father's death certificate, a man lost in those same woods, presumed dead. Along with it comes the key to the old family cabin, a relic of a life Blake thought he'd left behind. With a mix of duty and a desire to reconnect with his past, Blake packs up his family and their belongings, loading them into a truck for a summer getaway to Oregon. Little do they know, their idyllic vacation is about to turn into a nightmare. Along the way, they meet Derek, the son of an old friend of Grady's. Derek offers to guide them to the cabin, leading them deeper into the wilderness. But their journey is violently interrupted when a monstrous creature attacks, tearing Derek apart in a gruesome spectacle. Blake narrowly escapes with a wounded arm, fleeing with his family to the supposed safety of the cabin. Blake manages to get the generator running, providing a fragile shield of light against the encroaching darkness. Then, he desperately tries to secure the cabin, barricading the doors and windows against the unseen terror. He grabs the CB radio, hoping to reach out to anyone for help, but only static answers his calls. Then, something horrifying begins to happen to Blake. His body betrays him, a tooth falling out as a chilling transformation takes hold. Charlotte, ever vigilant, tends to her husband's arm wound, bandaging it tightly. In this scene, what I want to say is that I think the arm that was infected by the monster and the virus should be cut off and destroyed immediately. If that was done, I don't think Blake would transform into the Wolfman due to the virus. As the family settles into an uneasy sleep, Blake is tormented by nightmares, his breathing ragged, his body feverish. He senses the monster's presence nearby, a primal dread washing over him. He stumbles to the door, peering into the night, and the creature strikes, its clawed hand reaching through the pet door, latching onto Blake's leg, dragging him towards the darkness. Charlotte, roused by the commotion, acts swiftly, striking the creature's hand with a heavy tool, severing its grip. Blake is pulled back from the brink, but his condition deteriorates rapidly. He collapses, unconscious, the transformation taking its inevitable course. The clock strikes 1:30 a.m. Blake's eyes flutter open, but he's not the same. A cacophony of agonizing sounds assaults his ears, his ability to speak reduced to guttural growls. His wife, Charlotte, exhausted but ever vigilant, is still desperately trying to reach someone, anyone, on the CB radio. As patches of hair fall from Blake's head, he knows his time is running out. He can no longer form words, so he scribbles a desperate message, revealing the horrifying truth. He's dying. Charlotte tries to comfort him, but Blake is already slipping into a terrifying transformation. His vision blurs, the world around him becoming a distorted nightmare. He can no longer understand her words, his mind consumed by primal instincts. The wound on his arm festers, the sight of the oozing blood igniting a terrifying hunger within him. He nearly succumbs to the monster, his own hand rising to tear into his flesh. Charlotte, terrified but determined, searches frantically outside. She finds a dilapidated truck and tries desperately to jumpstart it, hoping to escape. But the monster is too quick, appearing before them, smashing through the windshield in a frenzy of claws and teeth. The family flees, scrambling onto the roof of the greenhouse, finding only temporary refuge. Blake, realizing the greenhouse is no longer safe, makes a desperate gamble. He runs in the opposite direction, drawing the monster's attention, giving his family a chance to escape back into the house. The ensuing struggle is brutal, a clash of human and monster. Blake returns, limping, his condition visibly worse. Even Ginger's comforting words fail to reach him. His fingernails fall out, and he spits out a severed finger, a gruesome reminder of his transformation. He turns on Charlotte, his eyes no longer those of the man she loves, a snarl twisting his lips. The Wolfman crashes into the house, and Blake, in a desperate surge of humanity, fights to protect his family. The battle is savage, a dance of death between human and monster. Finally, Blake, in a moment of clarity, sinks his teeth into the Wolfman's throat, ending the creature's life. But as he stares at the tattoo on the dead Wolfman's arm, a horrifying realization dawns on him. It's his father. Overwhelmed by grief and the monstrous change within him, Blake stumbles out of the house, knowing he's a danger to his loved ones. His body contorts, the transformation complete. He is the Wolfman now, a creature of instinct and rage. The mindless Blake returns to the house, a terrifying predator. Charlotte, grabbing Ginger, flees into the night, seeking shelter in a nearby barn. Blake, in his monstrous form, breaks through the barn doors, stalking his prey. But Charlotte, in a moment of desperate ingenuity, lures him into a bear trap. With Blake trapped, Charlotte and Ginger make their escape into the dense forest. But even in the agony of the trap, the Wolfman's primal instincts drive him. He tears off his trapped leg, the pain barely registering, and gives chase. Lost and terrified, Charlotte stumbles upon a rifle and finds refuge with Ginger in a hunting blind. The Wolfman appears, climbing onto the blind, his eyes filled with a tortured plea. He gestures, trying to communicate, a flicker of Blake's consciousness breaking through the monster. He wants to die, to end the curse, to save his family. Charlotte, her heart breaking, has no choice. With trembling hands, she raises the rifle and fires. The shot rings out, silencing the Wolfman forever. Mother and daughter cling to each other, weeping over the fallen body of the man they loved, the man who died to protect them. They make their way back home, leaving the nightmare behind them, forever scarred by the horrors of the Wolfman. The movie, while simple in its presentation, leaves viewers with much to ponder. It showcases Blake's deep love for his family, and how, even after being infected by the virus and transforming into an animal, he continues to protect the family he dearly loves as that animal, ultimately sacrificing his life in the process.